Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis with part 2 of Warhammer Fantasy Battles Tactics. I'm continuing my look at the laws of magic, and today I'm going to take a look at the Law of Beasts. The Law of Beasts is dominated by augmentative spells that grant your models extra capabilities. It's best chosen if your army intends to win its battles in close combat, as a few timely spells from the Law of Beasts can transform mediocre troops into fearsome battle winners. It's a law of buffs, basically, and it makes your units so much better. I've had a lot of experience with this law, and I find it very, very useful. Particularly on flimsy units like elves. On things like ogres, they don't really need it, because they're already like strength and toughness 4, and strength and toughness 4 with 3 wounds is a lot, trust me. But elves, they're flimsy, and they're pretty weak at hitting stuff. They're just fast, so strength boosts are always welcome. So, Law attribute. It's called Wildheart. Spells from the Law of Beasts are easier to cast on beasts or creatures attuned to the wilderness. If a spell from the Law of Beasts is targeted on one or more units of war beasts, cavalry, monstrous cavalry, chariots, monsters, swarms, or any unit from Warhammer Army's beastmen, then the casting difficulty of the spell is reduced by 1. So on just about anything but infantry and monstrous infantry, you're the casting value is -1, which is very useful. So instead of being, let's say, 8+, it's now 7+, and that's very useful. Of course, if you're just casting this on regular infantry, not so good. But if you need cavalry to go in and wreck face, it's easy to do it, which is nice, and makes monsters even harder to kill. So, the signature spell, your primary spell, your reserve, your swap back spell, is Wisson's Wild Form. To me, one of the best spells in the book. Cast on a 10+. Augment 12-inch range. The target unit gains +1 strength and +1 toughness until the start of the next magic phase. Or sorry, your next magic phase, so through your opponent's turn as well. You can choose to extend the casting value to 24 inches. If you do, the casting value is now 13. This is a great little spell, and it's a great one to have because if you're going in at strength 3 toughness 3 against strength 3 toughness 3, as most units are, then you're going to get stuck in a slogfest. If you've got 2 rounds of melee where you're at strength 4 toughness 4, not only are you causing more wounds, you're taking less wounds back, meaning you win the melee a lot quicker. And for flimsy troops, you have no idea how useful it is. Yes, it's only a 12-inch range, but you can quite easily boost it to 24 with just 1 more power dice. Plus, if you're casting on cavalry, the casting value is only 12, and 12 is actually quite easy to attain, particularly with anything above level 2. So, spell 1, the Flock of Doom. 5+, casting value, and frankly, I'm not that keen on it. Magic Missile, 24-inch range, 2d6, strength 2 hits. You can choose to extend the range to 48 inches, casting value increases to 8+. Is this a good spell? Well, it's no fireball, that's for sure. 2d6 strength 2 hits is okay, but on most things that's wounding on 5s, in some cases even wounding on 6s. So it's not going to do a lot of damage. But 2d6 is a fair amount of hits in the world of fantasy. So it's plausible, but I would still swap it for Wisson's Wild Form. Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. Do not get rid of this one, I implore you. Augment spell cast on the wizard or another friendly character within 12 inches. The target gains +3 toughness until the start of the caster's next magic phase. You can choose to target all friendly characters within 12 inches, including himself. If you do, the casting value increases from 8 to 16. So, on an 8+, you give somebody +3 toughness. It's only characters, not units, but if you're going into a challenge, suddenly you're now on average toughness 6, maybe even toughness 7. Seriously, you're not going to go down easily to that. Even monsters are now wounding on 4s at best, in most cases. Even a dragon is only wounding you on 3s, seriously. And that's the Star Dragon from the High Elf, but most are strength 6. And if you're feeling confident or have a load of spare power dice or some way of sorting out miscasts, you can target all characters within 12 inches, including yourself. So now your wizard is toughness average 6, meaning that he's suddenly very hard to snipe, and all the characters around him, battle standard, general, whatever. And if any one of them is cavalry or on a monstrous cavalry, the casting value decreases by 1 to 15, and 15 is a little more attainable than 16. I would still recommend if you're going to boost, bring at least a level 3 and have something in reserve just in case it goes wrong. The Amber Spear, power 3. Casting value 9+. The Amber Spear is a magic missile, range 24. It inflicts a single strength 6 hit that causes multiple wounds D3 and then penetrates ranks in the same manner as a shot from a bolt thrower, if the first model is slain. The strength of the hit is reduced by 1 for each subsequent rank. This is the same profile as a bolt thrower, strength 6, multiple wounds D3, -1 strength for each rank it goes through. However, bolt thrower ignore armor save, this does not. This just gives a -3 penalty, which unless you have a 3+ save is ignoring it anyway. Armor save, oh, scratch that. Armor saves are not permitted against wounds caused by the Amber Spear. So you're killing most stuff on 2s. Multiple wounds D3, you even pose a threat to most heavy infantry as well. Or multiple wound things, and monsters even have to worry about it. The wizard can attempt to call forth a larger, deadlier spear that inflicts a strength 10 hit, causing multiple wounds D6. If he does so, the casting value increases to 15+. This is hard. This is a hard one, because a strength 10 multiple wounds D6 bolt thrower is going to kill just about anything it hits. And if you're going through a 10 rank horde, it's going to be able to kill everyone in a rank. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's 10 potential dead guys. And on low toughness stuff, like toughness 3, until you get to strength 3, you're still killing on 3s. Or 2s most of the way down. And that's brilliant. So 15+, again, I would not recommend, unless you really have a death wish on your wizard, to go for this without chucking a lot of power dice at it. But the single non-boosted version is very useful. 4. The Curse of Amra here. 10+. It is a hex, range 36. The target unit has -1 penalty to its hit rolls, shooting and melee until the start of the caster's next magic phase. In addition, the unit treats all terrain other than impassable as dangerous and will fail dangerous terrain tests on a 1 or a 2 instead of just a 1. The wizard can choose to extend the range of this spell to 72 inches. If he does, the value is now 13+. I don't see your need to boost, because 36 inch range in fantasy terms is a very long way. It will hit most things if you've got a central position. And -1 to hit, if it's a melee unit, brilliant. Basically, instead of hitting you on 3s, they're now hitting you on 4s, so you're back on an even footing. It doesn't say -1 WS, so you're still hitting them on the same value. And shooting, an extra -1 to hit. If they've moved, or they're standing and shooting, or anything, an extra -1 is going to do a lot of damage to them. So it's very useful. And it keeps them locked in place. It's better on still moving units because it makes them take dangerous terrain tests. And on a 1 or 2, that's a third chance you're going to cause a wound, and I would definitely recommend that. Do you need to boost? Only in the really big games where you've got a really big board, realistically. 5. The Savage Beast of Horus. Like Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, if you get this one, keep it. This one is seriously strong. 10+ casting value. Again, 12-inch range, augment spell. Same as Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. Friendly character, which can be the wizard. The model gains +3 strength and +3 attacks until the start of the caster's next magic phase. Can choose to have this in cast on all friendly characters in 12 inches. If he does, casting value increases to 20+. Ow. Seriously. Ow. Until you have cast this spell on your beatstick general and he has killed an entire rank, or even 2 ranks in one go, you have no idea how powerful this spell is. Even your mediocre basic hero is now going to probably have 5 attacks at strength 6. That's monster profile. That's seriously, ow. And of course, if you need to, you can even cast it on the wizard, and suddenly, if he's fast, he'll put on a beat stick before he goes down. You can boost it, 20+, high risk, very high risk. I would not risk that with anything short of a level 4, realistically, unless I had some serious miscast protection. Seriously, because if you get a miscast going for it, God help you. God help you. And then we come to spell 6. This one is probably going to double the length of the video. Transformation of Kaden, or Kadon, I'm not sure, or Kaden, Kadon. how do you think it should be pronounced? I don't know. 16 plus. So before you start, you've got a very high casting value. 16 plus. Remains in play, so your opponent has to actively dispel it. The transformation of Kaden is an augment spell that can only be cast upon the wizard, and only if he is on foot. So if you've given him a cavalry mount, you need to swap this spell for Withstands Wild Form because you can't use it otherwise. Whilst the spell is in effect, the wizard transmogrifies himself into one of the following monsters: Feral Manticore, Black Hydra, or Horned Dragon. There is a bestiary section in here just in case you do this. Now, the Black Hydra is movement 6, weapon skill 4, BS 0, strength and toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 2, 7 attacks, leadership 8, monster, large target, terror, 4 plus scaly skin, regenerate, breath, weapon, strength 4. That's going to do a lot of damage and be hard to put down because 5 wounds, toughness 5 is pretty strong. And a 4 plus armor save as well. And a breath, weapon, strength 4 is very nice as well. What were the other two? Feral Manticore, Horned Dragon. Feral Manticore, movement 6, weapon skill 5, BS 0, strength and toughness 5, 4 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, leadership 5, large target, terror, killing blow, fly, can't pronounce, frenzy. So it's less hitty, but it's more hitty. I.e., killing blow, it can kill just about anything. Frenzy, it'll get more attacks, but it can get sort of dragged into a melee. However, it only has 4 wounds, it's only leadership 5, so dare lose a combat with it. And it can fly, so it can get around easily and go in for rear attacks. Horned Dragon. Movement 6, weapon skill 5, BS 0, strength 5, toughness 6, initiative 5 wounds, initiative 4, 4 attacks, leadership 7, large target, terror, 4 plus scaly skin, strength 2, breath weapon, fly. So this is obviously more resilient, it's toughness 6, it has a 4 plus save, nice breath weapon which is not that powerful, and fly, so it's got all the manoeuvrability things of the Manticore with a bit of the durability that you might find in the Hydra. So I would say Horned Dragon in most cases, unless you want a really powerful breath weapon, which way you pick Hydra, and if you just want to kill something, go Manticore. You pick which one you choose. If the wizard is in a unit, he can remain within the unit. Even though he is now technically a monster, you may have to reorder the unit a little bit to make him fit. There's some guidance in the rulebook for how to do that. If he cannot place because there is not enough room, the spell does not work. So be very careful that you can actually pull this gimmick off. So you have to put down the right size base and you have to make sure the gimmick will work. So make sure practice on the unit you've got to make sure it will work. Or put him on his own. Whilst transformed, the wizard cannot channel, he cannot cast. And all of his magic items and mundane equipment, such as armour and weapons, stop working temporarily. Any wounds are carried over between transformations. This is the worrying part. So if you go for it and you make it, and you become a dragon, and you take 3 wounds, and your opponent dispels the remains in play and changes you back, you've lost 3 wounds and you're dead. Not good. So if you think that you're going to lose it, as in you're in for a bit of a pounding this round of melee, you've done your impact thing, you may as well, and you think your opponent's going to dispel you, well, your opponent will always try and dispel this spell. So make sure that he doesn't. Actually, you can't stop him, you just have to be at the casting value. But make sure you do as much damage as you can, because it will probably result in a dead wizard when you change back. Either because the monster has died, either the wounds are carried over, or he gets stranded in a melee, or he's just going to get killed. That's risky. But he will still be in a unit. Okay. The wizard can choose to cast a more powerful version of the spell and become a mountain chimera or a great fire dragon. If he does, the casting value increases to 20 plus. Again, level 4s are the only people who should really go after this spell, unless you've got some serious protection against irresistible forces. Now, the mountain chimera, movement 6, weapon skill 7, you can see the difference already. BS 0, strength and toughness 7, 10 wounds, initiative 5, 4d6 attacks, leadership 6, terror, poisoned attacks, frenzy, 4d6 attacks, and breath weapon strength 4. This is insane. I mean, 10 wounds? How are you supposed to kill something with 10 wounds? The reason is you have to dispel it. You have to dispel it to take this thing down. And strength and toughness 7 and 4d6 attacks, while you're transformed, you're going to cause a serious amount of damage. Plus, Actually, no, you don't have any defense though. So anything that does land a wound will wound. You don't have a save. Now, if you choose the Great Fire Dragon, your opponent will cry. Movement 6, weapon skill 8, BS 0, strength, toughness 8, wounds 8, initiative 1, leadership 9, attacks 8, terror 2+ scaly skin, breath weapon strength 5, fly. So now, your toughness 8 with 8 wounds and a 2+ armor save. Yeah, this is a really powerful monster. Plus, it's issuing at 8 attacks at weapon skill 8. It has a strength 5 breath weapon and it can fly. Plus, it's not actually listed as a large target. So, officially, there's no problems with that. So, if you fancy going after the big ones, go for it. Oh, hang on guys, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, as I was saying, with Transformation of Kaden, if you're going to go for it, go big. Most wizards that can go after it will be level 3 or 4. Level 4s are the best to go for it, and if they're going to do it, they may as well go big. If you're going to go with the basic version, I would suggest you go with, as soon as my book opens properly again, the Mountain Chimera for damage, no, Black Hydra for an all-rounder, Feral Manticore for damage, and a Horned Dragon for a bit of resilience and a bit of damage. So you'll do more damage with the Manticore, but you're more survivable with the Dragon. If you're going to go for the big one, which I thoroughly recommend you go for the big one, because, well, if you're going to go for a big spell, you may as well go for broke. The Chimera is damage, damage, damage. This thing will just wreck a unit in one go. It could throw out 24 attacks if it was lucky. Seriously, ow. I could wreck a whole unit in one go, particularly with weapon skill 7, strength 7, and it's got 10 wounds, so it'll be very hard for your opponent to put down. Great Fire Dragon, you're not going to kill it. Toughness 8, 8 wounds, 2+ armor, no chance. Strength 5 breath weapon, make sure you use it. Terror, fly, weapon skill 8, 8 attacks. This is going to wreck everything. So, it depends. If you're going to go for all out damage and don't care if your wizard dies on the way back, do that. If you want to stay alive but still do a lot of damage, the dragons are probably your best bet. Word of warning, your opponent will dispel this as fast as they can. As in, as soon as the next chance they get to dispel it comes up, they'll go for it. They'll throw a chunk of their power pool at getting rid of this because they don't want a monster. So don't expect the Transformation of Kaden to do you that much of a favour. It might get you one round of combat, as in the turn you charge, you cast it, you get it off, and you do some serious damage. And then your opponent will dispel it out of hand because they've got more power dice to throw at it. Save about 5 power dice, I would say, back to go for it if you're going to go for it. So hold 5 power dice back, and that way your opponent is either going to keep a fistful of dispel dice, or he's going to use them not knowing, and then you'll go for it and get it and he can't stop you. So that's the Law of Beasts. Next video in this series I'll be doing the Law of Metal. The anti-armor law of annihilation, as I like to know it, because it's basically the death of anything in armor. So, thank you for watching. Leave any comments. Favourites, they really help the channel. The channel is expanding. It's doubled its subscriptions in the last 2 weeks, and that's incredible for me. I don't know how much is that publicity in other places, but I put a lot of it down to you guys as well. So, make sure you like, subscribe, favourite, everything else, and leave any comments below about your use of the Law of Beast, the Transformation of Kaden, and other things, and just general stuff really. Or over on Twitter at Tactical Imperial. I'm happy to talk with you guys over there. So thank you for watching. My name is Michael, and I will see you all again.